part of what happens a lot is that we measure actions by their outcome, and we forget about the intention. That's when we are judging things. When somebody else judges us, we are only looking at the intention and not at the outcome. But I didn't mean to hurt you. Do you know? So there's something about being able to hold both the intention and the outcome that allows us a more expansive space towards ourselves and also towards others if we apply the same thing to them. So essentially, this means separating out between is a need met or not, and the need as a force that moves through us, like we talked about before, that creates a certain intention. There are needs that lead me to take an action. And then once I take the action, some needs may be met and some needs may not be met. Sometimes the need that lead me to take the action don't get met. Sometimes they do get met and others' needs don't get met. It is really important that I can retain the sense of these needs that lead me to the action, because that's the place where I can stand solid in my own humanity. No matter what I did, no matter what anybody else does, it's always an attempt to meet needs. If I can really connect with what are the needs that are propelling me or somebody else to the action, that's where I find the compassion and the connection. Still, if I'm not happy with the outcome, I want to be able to connect with the needs that are not met and mourn the result, mourn the outcome. So I have mourning here, I have compassion here. The combination of the mourning and compassion is what allows me to work through my self-judgment. So to use the example from Susan from early in this morning, what is the need that led you to speak to your dad in the way that you're not happy with? Do you have access to what that need was?
Joy and fluidity.
Okay. So if I'm Susan, I can have compassion for myself. Here's how it goes. I don't know the story and it may not be exactly accurate and it doesn't really matter. I'm just using it as an example. Here's my father. I have been, for 5 years now, caring for him, and it's draining. It's a lot of work. I'm really trying to be as gentle and, caring and compassionate and patient as I can. And there are times when he does things that really make it so hard for me to be in flow. I'm just really, really trying to create, a kind of flow in the movement that will give me some ease and sustainability in doing this. So that's what led me to the action being raising my voice and saying snappy things. Yeah? Something like
Yes.
that? So I want to stand in this and have compassion for myself. It's about making it manageable for myself. It's about having a flow and fluidity in the whole process. Who wouldn't have compassion for it if we stopped to be with it? How can you stop to be with it and not have compassion? We just don't stop. Why? Because she's focused on this. Her needs that are not met by the action. And those are care for her father, respect, living in line with her values. If she's only focused on this, and she doesn't have the compassion, it's going to be really hard to have true mourning that is not about self-judgment. True mourning is a sweet experience. It's painful, but it's sweet, it's full of life. It allows me to integrate something and make it knowledge so that next time it's more available to me. If I judge myself, I am going to be less likely to learn anything from the experience. So this is what we do with self-judgments. We focus on the needs not met by the action through mourning, and we focus on the needs leading to the action through compassion. And sometimes looking at the needs that are met can help me find the compassion. That's it. It's very hard to hold them both. Defensiveness comes from wanting to connect with the intention so much that we can't bear to look at the outcome. Guilt comes from looking at the outcome so much that we don't think we deserve to have compassion for ourselves. Who has ever been defensive? All right, an example. Does anybody have a live example of a situation in which you're defensive? Yeah.
I was at church and my son bit somebody else, a teacher, for being put in timeout. He was angry, and I don't do timeout at my house, so it was a new experience for him. And they got very angry and told me he should know better, and I got really defensive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in that defensiveness, what I am seeing is you are holding care for certain needs that have to do with your choices about how you raise your child.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah. And you are so consumed by that it's hard for you to open your heart to the effect.
I was trying really hard, but it wasn't working.
Right. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah.
We're not working through this. So defensiveness is a placeholder for the compassion that we have towards ourselves when we understand our needs. It's almost like I don't trust myself to maintain my compassion if I open my heart to the effect. Because we have this either-or idea. I'm either guilty or defensive. And guilt is a placeholder for the mourning, where I'm not giving myself the compassion, because if I give myself the compassion, then I will not learn to improve my bad, awful ways. So guilt holds the place of the mourning that I would have naturally if I opened my heart to seeing how my actions have affected other people. The place of being human is about holding them both.